Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, joined by Phil Chambers from What Culture to tell you all the news ahead of tonight's Clash of Champions pay-per-view. We're going to be starting our live stream in about half an hour's time, so make sure you join us for that. But we should start straight away, Phil, with the big news ahead of Clash of Champions tonight.
Yeah, big changes going into Clash of Champions. It seems like it's a bit hectic backstage at WWE, let's say. But for start off, Nikki Cross is off the card. So the Bayley versus Nikki Cross Women's Championship match is cancelled. They are still expecting Bayley to be on there in some form, but who she's going to be up against, nobody knows at this time. I assume it will be announced on the kickoff show. So that's the first one. Secondly, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are also both off the card. So the Women's Tag Team Championship match is also cancelled. Because of this, they are going to move Asuka versus Selena Vega onto the main show. And I guess scramble to find something else for the kickoff. But it looks like the main show is down to 7 matches now.
Yeah, mixed emotions about this. I think we can all sort of, without getting ourselves into some legal trouble, presume why these matches might be off the show. I don't want to say I want to say no great loss, but I also want to caveat that by saying I don't think they're going to be bad matches. But I think both matches we assumed going into it that the champions would retain. I figured the whole Bayley Nikki Cross thing would probably maybe involve Fiend influenced Alexa Bliss in there. Yeah. So maybe they'll just do that again, but with Lacey Evans, although that would be a heel versus heel. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, to be perfectly honest. I think the Bayley dodging a pay-per-view might actually be quite nice to continue her storyline as we hopefully build towards a huge match between her and Sasha Banks. The tag match is quite annoying because, you know, this match was made off the back of the Iconic splitting, which now isn't even happening, and my head's going to explode. But yeah, I think we both agreed as well when we were talking about this on Wrestle Culture on Friday, Phil, that we thought that they were going to retain and probably murder the Riot Squad, unless they were going to do some sort of like, oh, they just can't get along nonsense. Great to hear Asuka Zelina Vega is on the main card. I think that, you know, is good to hear. Any match with Asuka in should obviously be on the main card. It's been a weird short build with Zelina Vega, and I think it's another match we can add to the list of, the champion's probably going to retain on that one. But yeah, it's just going to be pay-per-views for a while going forward, it feels like, Phil.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Bayley thing, I guess you could maybe just do Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and then have some Fiend thing. They could repeat the finish from SmackDown where she turned into the Fiend and then got a DQ or something, maybe. I don't know where they want to go with that. I mean, the women's tag one, it's sorry for Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. That's just the fluck. Them's the breaks at the minute, I guess.
It's just giving like, don't worry, we'll have you face them in Hell in a Cell instead. It will be fine. But yes, as I said, make sure you join me and Phil for our Clash of Champions live stream in about half an hour's time, where we'll be discussing all the goings on. How many titles are actually going to change hands on the big Gold Rush pay-per-view? But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the Undertaker. You may have seen news about this weekend, talking about him potentially returning to the ring. Oh my goodness, when the Undertaker said he was retired, was that a whole work? Yes, it was, as I said at the time. But he hinted in a recent fan Q&A with IGN that he is more likely to return as the big evil version of his character than a, quote, supernatural zombie or engine revving biker. No great surprises here, Phil, that we are going to see Taker back in the ring. Big evil, your thoughts on that time?
Yeah, I mean, the Taker thing was always going to happen. Big evil might not be the best choice, although I guess the Boneyard match wasn't too far away from that. But that, I think, like, if you just picked that Boneyard character as that was the Undertaker going forward, that would make a lot more sense of just, it is a little bit of all of the Undertakers and a little bit of him rolled into one. And boy, does he love playing computer games and things now, so you've got to get that in there somewhere.
It was just, it was really surreal off the back of that Boneyard match that they were like, right, well, that was it. And you were like, hang on, we just watched this match where we were like, you could probably get a good another like 5-10 years out of Taker with these sorts of matches, even, you know, with fans in attendance. If you just went, right, here's the filmed match that we have every year with Taker, I think fans would still kind of be on board with that. The majority of your audience at WrestleMania is going to be sat at home watching on telly kind of regardless. The big evil character, I'll be honest, I can kind of take or leave. But yeah, if you're asking me, are you shocked that the Undertaker may have reneged on his decision to retire? No, because I never believed it in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely not. But speaking of spooky supernatural characters, I guess there's a segue there somewhere. You might remember back when Liv Morgan, she did that promo where she grabbed the commentary mic and she said, like, the next time you see me, it'll be like the real me, and then she disappeared for a while. And in that time, there was a lot of rumours and speculation about whether she was going to return as Sister Abigail. She put out some kind of cryptic tweets and things about it, and never really knew. Obviously, it didn't happen, and now obviously she's back with the Riot Squad, so it's almost like this entire period hasn't happened. And now they're doing the sort of Sister Abigail type deal with Alexa Bliss. But anyway, was she originally going to be Sister Abigail or not? Well, she was in an interview with Sportskeeda, and she said this. I've got a quote from it. She said, "I think it's very flattering fan fiction. I was never, respectfully hoping to be Sister Abigail." I was never pushing to be Sister Abigail, she said. She went on to say that she just wanted to sort of convey all the thoughts and emotions that were going through her, like regarding the cryptic tweets and things like that, without sort of coming out and literally saying exactly what it is and keeping a sort of air of mystery about it, which is fair enough. And she basically concluded that she thought like fans really wanted to see her back, because of that they let their speculation run wild and they ended up with this. So no, Liv Morgan was never going to be Sister Abigail.
I really felt they bungled the whole return of Liv Morgan. Like, she's kind of hit a stride now. You say she was supposed to be in a title match tonight, but
yeah,
that sort of semi-return, being like, is she in a lesbian angle with Lana? Swerve? No, let's just pretend none of that happened. And then she came back and fought with Ruby Riott for a bit, and then is now friends again. It's just a bit bleh, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, this is the half the problem with fantasy booking, isn't it? Is sometimes when it doesn't go to plan, you go, wait a second, this was the plan all along. No, you invented it in your head.
No.
Yeah, you read a lot into these.
That line about, like, respectfully, I was never pushing for that. Like, no, why would I want that?
No. It's one of those weirdly like a high bar for something that's never happened, isn't it? Like, they just go, if you're going to be Sister Abigail, you have to be amazing at it, despite the fact it's just been some bollocks that Bray Wyatt has spouted over the years.
And there has been a Sister Abigail before, and it was Bray Wyatt. So.
Yeah. Was it Mumps we can thank for just getting rid of the whole thing there? That was very well timed, Mumps. Yeah, I do quite like what they're doing with the whole Alexa Bliss thing. It's a bit hokey. A bit school drama class thing, but I'm invested into seeing where that's going. And speaking of stories we're all invested in right now, there you go, segue. Eric Bischoff on his 83 Weeks podcast, which is genuinely one of the best wrestling podcasts out there, other than ours, of course. He talked about the pairing of Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman in WWE, and he doesn't believe that they are quite clicking at the moment. He said, I'm just going to kind of summarize this, so I'm going to miss out bits of the quote. You can read the whole thing up at whatculture.com right now. He said, I have nothing but a lot of respect for Roman Reigns for a lot of reasons, and I have nothing but respect for Paul and affection. I like Paul. It has nothing to do with what I think of them as characters. I just feel like they're positioning Paul and Roman much like they're doing with, it's late at night, I'll just tone it down for a bit, Retribution. There's no answer to the reason why it's not working, because there's no reason or motivation for it. There's no line in the sand. So clearly Bischoff thinks that this whole Reigns-Heyman pairing isn't really working. I honestly would disagree with that. I really like what they're doing, but I'll let you talk about it in a second, Phil. I know you obviously review SmackDown for us on our Phenomenal Wrestling podcast. But I have to say, I think it's saved. I talked about this with on the preview with Hamflet on Friday. I think Reigns and this packaging that he's had has saved SmackDown. It is completely reinvented a show. You look at how Raw is just circling the drain now, and how SmackDown is getting consistent viewership. Yes, it's a different channel, different all that, but still. And oh my word, the stuff that they did last week, and then particularly this week, the go home episode ahead of Clash of Champions. I mean, you and I agreed on Wrestle Culture, along with Sidge, this match between Reigns and Jey Uso, I should say, should main event Clash of Champions. It may not. The ambulance match may well take it, but it's the best story, or one of the best stories going in WWE right now, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, you've got to think back, was it like 2 months ago? The Universal title was literally in a swamp. So yeah, pairing him with Heyman's completely reinvigorated his character. The way they're playing it together as well, I think, is absolutely brilliant. I think like because the dynamic is different to what it was with Brock Lesnar, that's what makes it
Yeah.
work. And yeah, like it may not be the same click of just Paul Heyman's just the manager for Brock Lesnar, but that's what makes it so much better and much more nuanced as a storytelling device. Is that Roman Reigns doesn't really need him; he's just using him to chuck him to that even next level. So I don't agree with anything that Bischoff says there. They've been a great pairing. They're amazing on SmackDown. And yeah, SmackDown's a genuinely really good wrestling show at the minute, and it's
SmackDown is the reason why I'm so excited for this pay-per-view. Yes,
Yeah.
the reason why I'm looking forward to Clash of Champions tonight is majority because of what's going on SmackDown. Like that Intercontinental Championship triple threat ladder match is going to be mint. But yes, talking to Clash of Champions, make sure you join myself and Phil Chambers from 11 p.m. BST, which is like less than half an hour now, right here on What Culture Wrestling. We're going to be live streaming our reactions through the whole pay-per-view. There's a little bit of a surprise. Can't say anything.
I'm excited for this.
I'm not built. I feel
You've bigged this up way too much now.
It's a tiny surprise, and we've not got Miller on or anything. I'll pump the brakes a little bit on that one. But if you're looking for something to do to kill the time between now and the pay-per-view starting, go and check out Miller talking about every Paul Heyman guy ranked from worst to best. It's right here on the channel. Look at what I'm doing for you guys. But do let us know your thoughts on all today's news stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from. For myself and Michael Hamford reviewing Clash of Champions in a few hours' time. Good luck, everybody. You can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions for the guys in the with the news in the morning at What Culture WWE, where you can follow both of us. Phil, where can people get you on Twitter?
You can follow me at Phil My Chambers.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at What Culture WWE and join us for our Clash of Champions live stream in less than half an hour. But for now, this has been this evening's news ahead of the big pay-per-view. My thanks to Phil Chambers. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.